Hi, everyone. It's Ian Heller with Distribution Strategy Group, joined today by Vera Nieuwland, who's the Digital Transformation Consulting Lead for Kauffman Rosson. Vera, I'm delighted to talk to you today about this. It's just such an important topic, which is getting mid-sized distributors to embrace digital transformation. I mean, I think we've come a long way in that regard, but there's still a lot to learn, particularly with new AI tools that are making it in some ways easier, but also, there are a lot more choices than there used to be, right?
Right.
So let's start with some background. Why do you think this topic of AI and digital commerce is especially relevant right now for mid-sized distributors?
Yeah, definitely. So I think a couple of reasons. First of all, one of them, we've been talking a lot for a long time, but I think it's now more relevant than ever, is that the pace of change when it comes to digital is really accelerating. And I mean, AI is an inflection point in that. And it's a great opportunity, but also it can be a risk in terms of competitors moving really fast by using these tools. So I see that as a key reason. Second, also, we all live in a digital world, like as humans, and buyer expectations are changing with that as well. And that holds for every company, whether you're direct to consumer or in a B2B environment, those will continue to change. And expectations will continue to move fast from like what's today's like luxury is kind of tomorrow's expectation. So I think those two combined with the fact that large distributors have been on this digital commerce journey and digital transformation for a while. Um, B2C companies or direct to consumer brands have really figured out kind of very lean, smart models. And for this kind of middle market, small and mid-sized distributors, there's a lot to learn. And there's areas to kind of leapfrog into the digital world and become bigger, faster, and smarter through great tools.
Yeah, so I agree with all that. But why do you think there are still small and mid-sized distributors that hesitate to embrace e-commerce? And um, how can you address that, I guess, particularly with AI?
Yeah. Also, I think it's a couple of barriers, maybe also to do with kind of a lack of understanding of what's out there. So I think a lot of or clients that we work with kind of still think about, well, this is going to be really expensive. We don't have the budget to do it. And if we do free up the budget, is it really worth it? Is the upside there that's going to drive a return on investments? Combine that with the investment in staff and expertise. Like often the expertise is not in-house, so it's a bigger barrier to kind of figure out where to start and who's going to run this, who do you hire. So I think those things together drive a barrier for where to start and really seeing the business case in it. And what we're going to talk about today are some of the ways that can help reduce those barriers, really kind of bring down the speed to market and return on investments.
Yeah, and we were talking during the pre-call about how there's an attribution issue too, right? Where a lot of transactions from distributor customers start on the web, but then they finish by the customer sending in an email because that's is just their purchasing process. And so a lot of distributors hugely underestimate the real sales generated by their websites because they're only looking at shopping cart sales.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. A couple of things maybe to unpack there is that in the like the world of e-commerce, we speak a lot about like unified commerce now, which is kind of the evolution of omni-channel. Like, how do you really bring the different buyer journeys together because everyone's journey is different? And how do you really understand those so that you can see what drives value all the way from like discovery to conversion, right, into transaction? And the point you mentioned is interesting because in that case, B2B environments are very different from B2C environments also because we might say everyone wants to like transact on their mobile or most people um, in a consumer world, but for mid-sized buyers, that might be different, and they're very used to still putting their orders on email. And there's ways, I think, to combine those buyer journeys and have the benefits from getting your catalogs and your products online, and also still having the benefits to have digital order systems in the background and really start to become a data-driven organization, because when those starting points are digital, you continue to accumulate more data, and you can identify more opportunities for innovation. But your point's really interesting also in the fact that buyer journeys are different in a B2B environment, and you always need to be customer centric and design around that, even if that means maybe that a majority of your transactions could still be flowing through email, but that doesn't mean that integrating digital channels can actually really drive overall order values, basket size, etc.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into some use cases. Based on your experience, Vera, what are some of the practical ways AI can support distributors building or scaling a commerce model?
Yeah, so I want to talk about 10 super pragmatic use cases, because AI can play a role really across the entire value chain, and there's all kinds of decisions around like build, buy, partner. But I kind of really want to talk about the type of use cases that can help really start up quickly, or let's say you already have a commerce platform in place and you want to take it to the next level. So the first one is around product catalog and website setup. So one of the biggest early lifts, if you're very much used to kind of the traditional or analog worlds, is creating that whole digital catalog and getting all of your product information online. And with AI tools, you can feed the different information that you have, like product specs or PDFs with catalogs, and kind of very quickly create good taxonomies around what you want to build on a digital website or an order portal, and also have it help you suggest kind of tagging, cross-selling, and create basically a digital version of your catalog in days and instead of weeks or months.
Excellent.
The first one, yeah, sorry, I'll continue. The
No,
second
please
one's
go. Yeah.
related to that. So once you have a digital version of your catalog, right, it's creating what we call PDPs, product detail pages. So um, for all of the products, you need a copywriter basically to explain what the product is, like in your brand voice or like in ways that your customers will understand. Another great way where AI can help, if you have all of those kind of guidelines already available or you want to set them at that point, AI can help you create but also maintain those product detail pages on an ongoing basis. It's like having a digital copywriter on your team without having to either hire that person or hire an external team. Other thing I want to mention, if you operate in different countries, you can really quickly get to a different language website and have it translate or even kind of localize for that audience or country that you're selling in. Last one related to that um, is image and video creation and editing. Very important for like a compelling buying experience, yet can be very expensive to create content yourself, do all the editing, often going to have external resources needed, especially if you want to have like lifestyle images or like a lot of or video. If you have a lot of products, a big catalog, and you want to have a really good buying experience, that's a big effort. AI tools can really help with that, either to just like quickly start and have kind of auto edited imagery or enhanced or even generated, create really polished visual experiences without having to make a big investment in it.
Keep going. You're on a roll. These are great use cases for distributors.
Great. I'll continue with the rest. So we really covered the first kind of five with what I would call the storefront foundations.
Right.
The other five that I'll cover are more like operations. So if you think about that's kind of like the first step, right? Getting your storefront as an MVP, as a minimal viable product, or as like a really good buying experience, but you also need the initial team to operate it, which are going to have some slightly different skills than your current team in sales and operation and customer service. So a couple of ways of where I can help. So research, for example, is like just a common use case, I would say, across all areas of operation. So can help with product research, with SEO, so search engine optimization and keyword research, or really kind of help identify ways to position your products and services in a way that would differentiate from your competitors and kind of like drive conversion and engagements on your site. Customer service is the next one that I think is just a tremendous use case across every industry. So everyone's probably available with chatbots. Most customer service tools or commerce platforms have chatbot modules that you can just turn on and customize in the way that you want to, so that you have 24/7 coverage of at least the frequently asked questions, and customers feel that they get responses quickly. But then also your customer service agents can use AI tools to just operate much faster and more consistent in responding to customer requests. So the more information about your products and your previous correspondence you would feed your AI tools, the quicker our customer service reps can respond to their customers without having to kind of like figure out certain complex questions, and also kind of maintain that standard brand voice and experience that you want to keep consistent. And it will just help speed up even before moving to more advanced tools, because there's more advanced tools out there that will further automate. But just starting with customer sales enablement is a great way to kind of like help speed things up, and also identify, kind of like start to learn with the data and the tools and how it really benefits your organization.
And when you get into the more advanced tools, are you thinking of things like quote and order automation, uh, that kind
Yeah,
of
I was
thing?
I was 100%, and I'll get to that, but I was really even thinking just on the, and this goes for all of these use cases. There are more advanced tools out there
Right.
that you could either build yourself or purchase in the market. But I think if you, especially if you don't have a lot of technical expertise in house, it's a great starting point to just start with simple tools that are accelerators, to then really also learn what you might want to purchase in a market that's really going to kind of help you around this specific topic, because it will add up if you want to build a very sophisticated like tech stack across all of those areas. But yeah, you're 100% right. Like on inventory management, demand forecasting, order management, there's all more like advanced tools out there that could really kind of further enhance operations. But there's quick ways to start just with the way the operations, like you're running things now. So I'll run through a few others just to finish the list. Um, Once you have your commerce storefront set up, content generation is very important to keep engagement, to share promotions. Um, AI tools can make it much easier to set up email campaigns, promotion campaigns, ads, and overall content generation that you might want to communicate to customers, or even just like have on your commerce platform, to further educate or inform customers around how they're engaging with your products or services. And then the last two I'll mention is standard operating procedures. So as you get going, you're really training the team on how to run their workflows. And AI can really help in those early phases, but also as you're getting more mature, to automatically document your workflows. that will give you a really good foundation to assess how can I further optimize, but also as you're scaling the team to kind of bring people on board, you have all of these like documented SOPs available. It's a foundation for scale basically, and takes a lot of time to write if you want to do that in a like a consistent way. AI can extremely speed that up in a very effective way. And then the last use case that I'll close with is review analysis. So as you'll start to um, um, get more orders and more customers, whether you have reviews on your platform or you have data from your customer service, um, you can combine different sets of structured and unstructured data to do kind of analysis and scale and really kind of within seconds say, what are the top 5 positive and negative attributes around this product category or specific products? And that will continue to help ongoing improvements, better customer engagement, and really kind of understands how your customers engaging with your products and services.
Fantastic. Now, let's go back to SOPs for a second. Can you expand on how AI helps standardize operations and build internal consistency?
Yeah, I think building SOPs is a very underrated use case for using AI. Like I come from a world of consulting. We've always done a lot of work in helping our clients build SOPs in their further kind of journey on standardizing operations, process improvements, etc. Um, I think it's a foundation for a couple of reasons. If you want to um, scale further, bring new people on board to get trained, but also the point we spoke about earlier in working with more advanced tools and further automation of processes, um, you can't really slam new tools on a process that's already broken. So having good SOPs and like a good assessment of your current process flows before you start to kind of move into more advanced like automated workflows is just a great foundation when you're getting started, and AI can really change the game of getting those in place in a consistent way and save tremendous time of building it.
Excellent. That all makes sense to me. And final question, why is now the right time to start using AI in digital commerce?
AI is just very accessible. Like there's free or very affordable tools in place also that like ones that we all use in like our personal lives that are super customizable to just get started quickly, and you don't need a lot of technical expertise or a big team to work with tools like that, and you can get a lot done. So I think that barrier to entry in and work with some of those technologies has just come down, and that creates a big opportunity. So you can start really small and get big outcomes, and I think that's a big change compared to like 3 to 5 years ago. And then the last point I think is important is that the kind of what we started with, the pace of change is happening so fast, and everyone's talking about AI. Like most of our clients are either implementing or like experimenting with it. And if you're gonna kind of at least start to really look into what it can do for your business, like your competitors are doing it, and it's um, that gap to kind of catch up is becoming smaller. So besides just being a tremendous opportunity to accelerate kind of a digital journey and opening up new opportunities to become bigger, better, faster, and smarter, there's also a risk and a need to kind of fall behind and not being able to catch up with some of these technologies.
Yeah, I wrote a column the other day called "The One Thing Distributors Must Know About AI," and the point was, like, there's all this noise about how it's going to affect the world, how it's going to affect society, but it's not going to create a black swan event for the distribution industry because so much of what distributors do is moving physical goods, right?
Right.
But the black swan event for you, or the existential threat to you, may be your competitor who's moving faster to implement AI than you are, and you can't let that
100%.
happen. Yeah,
No, and some of these things can be really, to your point, maybe not transformational as a black swan event to the entire industry, but they can be transformational to operation of a certain company, right?
right,
If if you can really transform, let's say, a number of orders per day to like 5 or 10x in the way of just how more effectively you're running your operations, that is a like tremendous transformation, and that's hard to compete with from a volume and margin perspective. So yeah, I would agree with that.
great. Okay, well, hey, Vera, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been
Yeah,
great
and
talking.
please go to kaufmanrosson.com if you're looking for help with digital transformation. And thanks for joining us today on this podcast/webcast. Bye now.
Thank you so much, Ian.